Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, Lee Cole here. Hope y'all are doing great. And we're going to get going in about 30 seconds, if not sooner. You should be able to see my screen. You're looking at a logo for local ranking systems, and it says one new client every week for Google My Business Sales. So could somebody confirm that they can actually see the screen and actually hear me? I was having a wee bit of difficulty with my Wi-Fi. Roger, how are you doing? It's nice to see you on a webinar. Hope you're doing well. Well, cool. This is going to be a really interesting webinar. Mark, how you doing, buddy? This is going to be a very, very interesting webinar. If I can, hold on. I've done this before. I think I screwed it up though. Hang on, guys. Let's try that again. Or maybe I got it backwards. Okay. I think I got flustered by the little issue with the Wi-Fi. But no biggie. Okay, here we go. Now, this is a bonus to Jeanne Kolenda's local ranking systems, the really fabulous product that she did about 3 weeks ago or so with her friend Sue. I had great feedback from that product. And I'm going to put this up on YouTube because I know that we have a lot of people who just can't make it. So I'm going to pop it up on YouTube a little later on today. And matter of fact, let's do this just so we're actually communicating here, just so you can actually see it once it's up there. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, my YouTube channel rocks. It's all about local marketing, stuff that, local marketing and some general internet marketing, but which I've done for over 10 years now professionally, stuff that actually does work, okay? So if you want to subscribe to that YouTube channel, please do, and that way you'll get notified every time I upload something new. And I will pop this up there, and you can refer to it, because this is going to be, I don't have more subscribers than Paris Hilton. But this is kind of the Paris Hilton thing. I'm still recovering from the Wi-Fi issue, but the Paris Hilton thing was just hilarious, Mark. But God, what was the Paris Hilton thing just like blew my mind. But anyway, this webinar is going to be a little different because I'm here to point you in a right direction. Okay. I'm here to basically tell you how to go about building a real business. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. Look, guys, it's not that hard, really. It just takes, frankly, a ton of work. I'm also here to cut down on the amount of work you need to have real income. And if you will just take me up on this. So this webinar is going to be really, really cool. This is the information that, when people actually ask me, well, really, how do I do this? This is what I tell them. There's nothing cool or trendy or sexy about this. It literally is common sense. Common sense is not that common. It took me a good couple of years before I finally quit hitting my head against a brick wall, wondering why my business wasn't growing. I mean, I was making sales. It's just that, wondering why my business wasn't growing. And then I just sat down with a pencil and a piece of paper and started really looking at the numbers. And then I thought, oh, holy cow, now I know. And that made all the difference. So this is what you're going to learn in the webinar. Why you should listen to me. Proper expectations and what I call my magic number. The magic number is actually very cool. having that idea in my head for years now, and I'm the only person I know who's ever come up with this. Although when I tell sales professionals about my magic number, they always say, yeah, that's about right. That's what I'm experiencing. But we're going to take a look at what I call my magic number and the futility of selling one-offs. Now, by a one-off, I mean you find a client, you find some, okay, you got something to sell, right? And you find somebody to buy it from you, and you know, with us, it's a service, right? And then you sell them that service, and you get paid one time, and you do the service, and then it's done, right? That's what I mean by a one-off. A one-off is the opposite of a recurring payment. Okay, so we're going to talk all about, and there's a tiny bit of arithmetic involved. Don't worry, I used to teach mathematics way back in the day, so I'm going to make it as easy as I can. The futility of selling one-offs. That's what I was actually beating my head against many years ago, and then it hit me. Well, you just can't sell one-offs. That's crazy. But I'm going to show you why, and why you must focus on recurring income. The proper sales flow. I want you to understand that none of this stuff is hard. It's just, you know, if you were like lost in the woods and but let's say you knew that there was a road with a lot of traffic on it to the north of where you are, it would be nice to have a compass, right? So look at this webinar as the compass. I think that's a pretty good analogy. Two great ways to get clients. These are my all-time favorite ways. It works for selling Google My Business stuff really well. It works for selling virtually everything else, both of these. And some more training you might be interested in, very inexpensive. Because between the time that Jeanne and Sue launched local ranking systems and now Jeanne has launched another product, which she launched today. And it's called Veterinary Client Systems, which is true. It is about, you know, selling this kind of stuff to vets, but there's so much more to it than that. And I'm not gonna, you know, this is not a sales pitch webinar, okay? Don't worry. But I do want to sort of dispel the myth that, you know, veterinarians, big deal. I do want to just sort of dispel the myth and help you understand really what that product is all about. So let's get going. Proper expectations in my magic number. Who here has ever been frustrated with building the business that you want to build? I'm going to take a drink of water while you let me know if you're just totally happy or if you've ever been frustrated. Yeah, I'm getting a ton of frustrateds, and I'm getting no totally happies. And except for Mark. But the reason you're frustrated, part of the reason you're frustrated is, you know, it's a lack of skills, frankly. Okay, and you know, don't worry about that. I mean, you know, if I was going to rewire the electricity in a house, I would be frustrated because I don't have that skill set, right? But you know, you can learn to do that, right? So that's part of the reason, but a huge part of the reason that people get very frustrated with this stuff is because your expectations are way out of whack. All right, and that has to do with my magic number. Now, real quick about me, I don't know why that said that. I think that should say, I apologize. I'm having a bizarro day. I think this should say about Lee Cole, but anyway, we'll get to the magic number in just a sec. But anyway, I've been doing this stuff since 2010. All that time, well, maybe that's why I more or less had a magic number that guided me. Okay. So I would say I came up, actually, total transparency, I came up with the magic number concept probably around 2011, 2012. I remember talking to a bunch of people and, you know, just kind of like, I was frustrated, right? I mean, I was making money, I just wasn't making enough. And that's about when I came up with that magic number. And the magic number, guys, is 25. Now, I know this is totally meaningless to you because I haven't told you what the heck the magic number is all about, and I'm going to. But the magic number is 25. And if you can get this concept in your head, and if you get comfortable with it, it's really going to help. It's going to help your frustration level. It's going to help you calm down as you try to build this business. It's going to help your, the way you carry yourself and the, all of that stuff when you're talking to clients. It's going to help a ton. Now, this is the magic number, all right? I want you to pay really close attention to this, and I want you to also, I want to talk about, I'm going to define some terms in this next sentence. For years now, literally years, all right? If I have some sort of meaningful communication with around 25 potential clients, I'll make a sale. Now, it could be 20 or it could be 30. Or if I'm just having an awful week, it could be 35. I don't know. But for about, this magic number has held true. I mean, it's probably held true forever, but I kind of came up with, I started really tracking stuff, getting really sort of, tracking calls going out, tracking, messaging on LinkedIn, tracking all that stuff, and tracked it for a long time. And it really worked out that if I have some sort of meaningful communication with about 25 potential clients, not people who are necessarily going to buy, they just might buy, I'll make a sale. Now, I really want to talk about meaningful communication. Now, meaningful communication means that, let's see if I've got it in the slide. Here we go. At least I'm consistent, right? I wrote this morning, so, I have been working like a house on fire all day. Meaningful communication to me means something like cold calling targeted businesses. So, well, let's take veterinarians, right? So you get Jeanne Kolenda's new product, Veterinary Client Systems, right? And you decide that you're really going to go big with that. So you get online, or maybe have some scraping software, or heck, I mean, you literally can do this with just searching stuff with Google. But you Google something like veterinary clinics, Des Moines, Iowa, something like that, right? Okay. I don't know how many of those there are in Des Moines, Iowa. I mean, Iowa has a lot of cows, so maybe there are a lot. I don't know, but they're going to be a bunch, and meaningful. So that's what I mean by targeted businesses, all right? And you just, I mean, the way I do it is I literally use Google and start at the top of the page and just scroll my way down. You can get a lot more organized about it. You don't have to. But if you were to call, let's say you're selling this thing of Jeanne's, or anything else. I mean, it doesn't have to be Jeanne's new thing. Jeanne's new thing, by the way, is about ranking Google My Business listings, not just optimizing them, but getting them ranked. It's about citation building, which is something you have to do on an ongoing basis. It's a subset of search engine optimization. And she gets paid about $500 a month per client. Notice I said a month, recurring income per client, to do this for clients. So let's say you were doing that. I mean, just to give us, something real to talk about. So what I'm saying to you is, you get on Google, you Google veterinary clinics, Des Moines, Iowa, or veterinary clinics where Birmingham, England, or wherever you are, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be where you are. It's, wherever you want to reach out to people. And I'm saying that on average, if you called 25 of those, now you just kind of have a little game plan when you cold call, but if you called 25 of those, explain to them what you're doing real fast. On average, and this has worked out for me for years, on average, if you can cold call 25, you're going to make about one sale. Now, by average, I mean this. You may call 40 and not make any sales, but I'm saying that if you call 100 on average, you'll make 4 sales. And I'm saying that if you call 500 on average, you'll make 20 sales. 5 times 4. Yeah, you got it. So these are averages. So if you want to do this, great. But I'm saying don't just sit there and write down 1 through 25 and then sit on your butt and expect somebody to to buy anything from you. It doesn't, we're talking about averages here. That number is so incredibly important for expectations. The number 25, that's why I call it a magic number. It's like a magic sales number. And quite frankly, like I said, salespeople, I got a lot of friends in various, sales type businesses. But other salespeople tell me this is pretty much the number that they experience. They may not have actually just come out with a number, but it's kind of along these lines. The number 25 works in other ways too. If I send out 25 direct mail letters, I'm not saying I'll make a sale, but if I send out 25 direct mail letters, I've noticed over many, many years and just massive amounts of direct mailing, I've noticed that now these are targeted direct mail letters, okay? So I'm not just like spewing stuff, right? Targeted direct mail letters. I'll probably get 1 appointment for a sales presentation. Mark, Mark says cold calling meaning phone calls. Yeah, I'm talking about real life, honest to God, old fashioned, calling up people and tell them about your deal and asking them if they're interested. Real life, human, honest to God, before the internet type communication. And by the way, guys, in case you're wondering, this is the way that massive numbers of businesses have been built and are built in all kinds of industries. Right? This is this is selling 101 in the real world, cold calling. Texting, I've never done that, Mark. I have no idea about that. I mean, obviously I've texted. I text my wife all the time, or one of my kids, but I've never used texting for prospecting. I don't. I mean, texting. Maybe texting for prospecting is like the greatest thing ever invented since sliced bread, and Lee just doesn't know about it. It strikes me as kind of like a fear avoidance strategy. I mean, just man or woman up, guys, and just pick up the freaking phone and start calling people. You will be shocked at how much business you can build, even if you don't really know what you're doing. By the way, I'm probably going to be teaching a class toward the end of the year, maybe first part of next year, all about sales skills. If you're like interested, but your skin's kind of crawling because you don't know if you can do this and all that stuff, you probably want to take that class, because this kind of real sales stuff I've done for decades, and it flat out works. But it helps to know a little bit about it. Okay. So proper expectations and my magic number continued. So let's talk about this magic number. Now, there's some things that the number 25 does not work for, all right? And cold email, when I was thinking, man, there's got to be a ton of things that 25 does not work for. Cold email is one of them. Now, cold email is defined as you scrape, it's spam, right? I mean, technically it's spam. I'm not suggesting you do it or don't do it. I'm just telling you the realities of it. Cold email, you have to use software for this, okay? Because the numbers are huge. You scrape a bunch of emails, you write an email, you have a landing page and all this stuff. You got all your ducks in a row. Well, you're going to have to send out way more than 25 emails to even get an appointment, right? People that do this in our industry and in industries related to ours. And I've got a very good friend who actually does this. but you probably have to send out about 1,000 cold emails to get an appointment, maybe more. You know, when I wrote 1,000, and I was trying to think back to a conversation I had with my friend who runs a marketing company, and they do a lot of stuff through cold email. 1,000 or 2,000, you know, which makes sense. I mean, you know, and this is to, you know, there's a lot of technical stuff to know about cold email. So I'm not just talking about scraping 1,000 emails. You got to scrape them, you got to clean them, you got to get out the spam traps and all this stuff. Okay, but if you have to make sure they're real emails, you know, so your emails don't bounce. But you know, once you've gone through all that, 1,000, 2,000 of those, you'll get an appointment. Maybe that's worth doing to you. I mean, it just like seems so much easier to me just pick up the phone and call 25 people, honestly. Now, like I said, the number isn't etched in stone. Yeah, Adam, there are several people who just love cold email, and the person I'm talking about is not someone that you may know her, but you don't know her through this world. I mean, it's not like one of the usual suspects, okay? But she, you know, her company does cold email like by the tens of thousands, you know, every week. So the 25 number is not etched in stone. I mean, sometimes, you know, sometimes you have great weeks, right? And it's 20. And sometimes, you know, you have weeks that suck and it's 40. All right. It just is. All right. I mean, we're talking about numbers here, and we're talking about averages. You realize if you took a penny and flipped it 10 times, that there is a statistical chance that it would land heads, 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 heads for 10 times, right? For those of you that are interested, that number happens to be 1 out of 1,024. In other words, really long odds. But I mean, it could do that, right? So you could like call, you know, call 25 people or something like that, and nothing happened. All right, but when you average it all out, the magic number is right at about 25. It's not 4, it's not 5, it's not 3, and it's not 2, and it's not 100. It's not even 50. Now, that is really, really interesting, because that really brings to light why the futility of selling one-offs. And I'm even talking about those of you who sell websites for, let's say, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6,000 or more, right? It's not a great way to build a business, and I'm going to show you mathematically why. And so, for those of you who are specifically trying to build a small one-person business, or maybe a one-person business with a couple of outsourcers, that kind of deal, one-offs is the kiss of death. It literally is the kiss of death. It's going to guarantee that you that it just doesn't work. You're gonna, I mean, if you get good at it, get good at selling whatever you're selling, you're gonna make a little bit of money. You're gonna be horribly frustrated, and you're gonna get massively burned out. Well, let me show you why. I mean, we can look at the numbers now that we know about the rule of 25, right? Remember my magic number, 25. Let's do some math. Now, let's say our average revenue per sale is $1,000. Okay. So, in other words, every time I sell something, I get paid $1,000. But I'm not talking about recurring income. I'm talking about a one-off. I get paid $1,000 for a sale. That doesn't sound too bad right off the top of it. I mean, heck, if you made 5 of those a month, right? Then that would be $5,000 a month, you know, which is $60,000 a year. Now, granted, that's not like mega bucks, but you know, I mean, most people in most countries, that would be like on the level of a full-time job. All right, ish. Okay, I mean, you're kind of getting somewhere. Now you can make, you're welcome to make more money, and don't misinterpret this and say, well, Lee said I can only make $60,000 a year doing this, therefore I'm not going to do it. That's nuts. I'm just trying to bring it down to reality. All right. So $5,000 a month, $1,000 per sale, 60 grand a year. So you'd need 5 sales to do that, right? Well, using my rule of 25, this means that on average, in order to get those 5 sales, you're going to have to have 5 times 25 is 125 meaningful interactions with people. You either called up a business or you were, and we'll talk about LinkedIn in just a sec. You were on LinkedIn and you were not spamming people, right? You were you were interacting with people that you're already connected with in some sort of meaningful way. Now think about that. I mean, something has to precede that, right? In order for it to be meaningful. But you'd have to do that. You would have to have 125 people basically respond to what you're saying. All right. I mean, if you're cold calling, it's going to be about 25 times you dial the phone. If you're on LinkedIn, I would say it would be about 25. I mean, this isn't just like, this isn't carved in stone. If you were on LinkedIn, I'd say it'd be about, if you were like doing marketing through messaging on LinkedIn, which is a very, very good thing to do, I would say you need about 25 people to react to your messaging. So that means that you're going to be reaching out to a heck of a lot more than 25. But however that works out, you need 125 of those each and every month, over and over and over again. That's tough. That is really, really tough. Especially for these little tiny businesses. Because what happens is, and if you've been doing this a while, and if you're making some progress, if you got some experience, then you're going to know what exactly, you're going to nod your head up and down and know exactly what I'm talking about. You end up doing a bunch of work, you get a client, they pay you, you get all happy, you end up spending a bunch of time fulfilling what you sold them, which you should do, by the way. And then guess what? You spent the money and you need more money, and that cycle has to happen all over again. That's a kiss of death. It's extremely difficult to do. That's where I was back in like 2011 or so. I mean, I was really just killing myself. I love cold calling, but that was really before I discovered LinkedIn. I got good at LinkedIn around 2013, but so I was doing most of my stuff through cold calling around 2011. I still cold call. It's a little nerve-wracking, but the results are so good. I also do a lot of marketing through messaging on LinkedIn. I love that too. But no matter what you're doing, if you're running a small laptop lifestyle business, this is extremely difficult to do month after month after month after month. And the kicker is, if you take 2 weeks off because you're exhausted and you're going to, screw it, I'm going to go on vacation, or if you take a week off, or if you take a few days off, obvious dip in income, right? It's got to happen. What's easier is making $500. Now let's talk about an easier way of ending up with our $5,000 per month. What's easier is making $500 per month recurring sales, and over time getting 10 customers. So let's say you had 10 customers all paying you $500 a month. There's your 5,000. Do you see that there's your 5,000? But, and this is why people kind of love one-offs, is because it's in the short run, it's actually easier to go after the one-off sale than it is to build recurring income, okay? For a whole ton of reasons. One of which, there's a lot more things you can sell as a one-off than you can sell as a recurring income product. It's not that there are not any things you sell as a recurring income product. There's a ton of them. but it's just, you know, they're not few and far between. You just have to, there's just a smaller number of things that you can sell. So, but the beauty of having a $500 per month per client recurring income is that after, let's say, 2 or 3 or 4 months, I mean, I'm figuring against you. It shouldn't take this long, but let's say after 2 or 3 or 4 months, you've got $5,000 coming in every month. And if you're selling the right product, it's going to be coming in every month for the next year and a half or 2 years or so. That's a heck of a lot easier, because when you get up to that level, then guess what? You either don't have to prospect anymore, or you can prospect more and you build your income bigger and bigger and bigger. The problem the problem with the one-offs, besides the fact that it's totally exhausting. Okay, if you like sales, the first month it's going to be exciting, and the second month it's work, and by the third month you're thinking, screw it. Okay, the one-offs. I kind of lost my. I was going to make yet another point about one-offs and recurring, but I think I've made the point, right? I think I've made the point. If you're just doing one-offs, you literally are. You're going to hit an income ceiling very, very soon, because your income is predicated on how much prospecting you do every month. Okay? And there are only so many hours in the day, and there's only so much money in the bank. So I don't care how you prospect, but your income per month is going to be governed by how much prospecting you do every month if you're just selling one-offs. Whereas if you're selling a good recurring income product, you know, it's not the only one, but like the citation building example, if you're selling a good recurring income product, your income grows over time. You know, with one-offs, I mean, in this example, let's say you got up to where you were making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, but then it stops and you're killing yourself. But taking longer to build up a group of clients all paying you $500 a month, right? Over and over, you know, monthly, it's going to take you longer. It's going to take you a little longer to get up to $5,000 per month. But guess what? If you double the time, you would get, I mean, everything being equal, and it would be equal. If you double the time, you're going to get up to $10,000 a month. If you triple the time, you're going to get up to $15,000 a month, which is $180,000 a year. And if, you know, you can make more money than that, that's totally cool. But if you can't live off that, you're probably screwing up. Okay. I mean, even after taxes and all the BS. So trying to create one of these local marketing business from off of one-off sales is nearly impossible. So I'm suggesting that you quit trying to do that. Now, proper sales flow, because so here I am telling you, you need to focus on recurring income sales. And notice this webinar is not like all these little products that you buy, which are great. You learn a ton from them, but I'm not going to tell you the 3 easy steps to whatever, because that doesn't really exist. I'm actually trying to help you really understand how these businesses work. A great way to get to a recurring income sale. There are basically 2 ways, okay? You can either just focus on selling the recurring income service. That's all you're selling. So I'm using my friend Jeanne Kolenda's thing, okay, as an example. So let's say you're selling the citation thing. Well, that's all you're doing. You're just reaching out to businesses, whether that be cold calling or doing LinkedIn or whatever. You're just reaching out to businesses. And you're talking to them about their Google My Business listing and the fact that it's not anywhere near the top of the rankings, and that you can help them with that, you know, explaining to them about citations, a little bit about citations and SEO, and it's going to cost them $500 a month. And not too long, they're going to see their Google My Business listing start to perform much better. So you could either go for the one-off sale, I mean, excuse me, either go for the recurring income sale right off the bat, or you can step your way up to it. Okay, and it's not like one of these is better than the other. They're just different. So proper sales flow. Let's do some more math so you know what you're up against. Remember, I told you that I was going to tell you really how these businesses work. I keep emphasizing that. Now, this is how it usually works out for me, all right? 25 meaningful contacts will, now I'm talking about like something as powerful as cold calling. 25 meaningful contacts will probably result in 3 to 5 actual sales presentations. Now, if I'm just doing messaging on LinkedIn, then it's not 25 messages being sent out. It would be 25 people that I am through messaging getting to engage with me about what I'm selling. Like I message them, they message back. I tell them what I do. They say that sounds pretty interesting. Okay, we get to that point. All right. So for LinkedIn, at that point, that becomes one of the 25. Okay. But 25 of those things, in other words, somebody engaged, somebody listening, somebody, they're not necessarily going to buy, usually results in 3 to 5 actual sales presentations, 3 to 5. And out of those 3 to 5, on average, you'll close one of those. In other words, you will make a sale with one of those. What happened to the others? I mean, it just is what it is. Sales is, I hate to tell you this, but you're in the sales business whether you want to be or not. A lot of people get to this local marketing stuff via internet marketing, and you get to internet marketing because you get interested in it, which is totally cool. It's exactly the same trajectory that got me here. And you're all interested in technology, and it's totally fascinating, isn't it? And you never really get down to the nitty gritty of, oh crap, I've got to learn to be a salesperson in order to have a real business. Well, that's the sad truth of the thing. But the good news is it's not that hard. It really just takes a willingness to do it. It really isn't that difficult. So out of 25 meaningful contacts, and I've talked about what meaningful contacts are, you should have 3 to 5 actual sales presentations. Now you could have a week that sucks, and you could have none, or you could just be hitting it out of the park and you've got 7. I mean, it just does happen sometimes, but it's going to be around 3 or 5. And on average, you're going to close one of those, because if you're having a meaningful connection with 25 people about your deal, it kind of sort of means, I mean, it just sort of, I mean, you can kind of infer from that they're actually interested in hearing about what you're talking about. Otherwise, why in God's name would they waste their time talking to you? Now, whether that talking is on the phone, whether that talking is, messaging through LinkedIn. I mean, we all got better things to do than just, trade messages with people that, just for the heck of it, right? So by the time you get to a meaningful contact, a meaningful connection, or a meaningful contact, whatever you want to call it, I think I've called it both things in the course of this webinar. By the time you get to there, you're talking to a person who's kind of sort of interested. They have an interest. And I'm telling you, you've got about a 1 in 25 chance of selling that person. Most of them won't even. Mark, is that serious? Is that actually a serious question? Because I've talked about cold calling and LinkedIn. Okay. So these are real numbers, guys. I mean, this is really how this stuff works. Okay, good job, Mark. This is really how this stuff works. And I think, I know from doing a lot of coaching over the years that, when people like calm down and say, oh, okay, so I got to get 25 people willing to listen to me on the phone. I mean, back before COVID, I could go to a network meeting, you know, where human beings stand around and breathe on each other. We don't do that anymore, right? And my 25 contacts still works. I mean, you know, that still works. If I'm talking to a bunch of people in a network meeting, and if I get 25 people to say, yeah, I'm kind of interested in that. Could you send me some more information? Or, yeah, listen, I got to go to an appointment. Would you mind calling me back and telling me, you know, call me at the office tomorrow morning, tell me more about this? You know, if I can get 25 people to that point, which is just a matter of reaching out a lot. If I can get 25 people to that point, I know in my heart I'm going to make yet another sale. That's good. This is good. So that sale can be a one-off, right? And we don't want to just end with one-offs, but if you really wanted to, you can either go for the recurring sale, or you can sell a one-off. Like a lot of times with Google My Business, I will sell a cheaper Google My, you know, for their Google listing, I will sell an optimization service. Okay, let's say I sell that for, you know, a couple $100 or so, optimization service. You know, I'm really just selling that in order to be able to talk to them about the recurring income thing. I don't need 200. I mean, everybody needs an extra $200. You can't build a business out of one-offs at $200. I think I've really explained that. So the sale could be a one-off as long as you upsell them to a recurring income service. Your goal must be a recurring income service. Now, like I said, I really like that pattern. It really works for me. I call it a sales flow. I really like the pattern of selling a foot in the door product, and then upselling to my recurring income product, either at the same time or later. And frankly, it's a little easier to sell it later, but you know, by the time you make 2 or 3 upsells, you'll realize that you could have done the whole thing all at one time. So usually what I do is sell people a Google optimization service. I'm talking to them about that, and then I start just moving the conversation toward, well, how well is your Google, you know, listing ranking? What do you mean? I don't know. Let's do a screen share, and let's get on Zoom, you know, Zoom, do a screen share. Let's just type in some keywords, veterinary clinics in Des Moines, and here they are. And you know, I don't see you. I'm not seeing you. Scroll, 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 scroll. Right there you are. Now, the optimization service is going to help this problem. I mean, right now, this is doing you no good being at, you know, 13th position, but the optimization service is going to help you a lot. But I mean, if you really want to start moving up the ranks, let me tell you about blah, 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 blah being citations. That's how you upsell somebody at the same time. It's not hard, guys. It's really just a matter of common sense. And I think I just gave you the example using Google My Business, selling an optimization service for a few $100, you know, like $200, something like that, and sell a citation building service for $500 or so per month. Now, this is where it gets really, really cool, because you should be able to upsell about half of your front end sales. I mean, that's another number that's been very consistent for me. Very consistent. I can upsell about half of my front end sales, as long as the recurring income product has a relationship to the front end sale. In other words, kind of like a Google My Business optimizations, a page optimization service, okay? And then citation building is like a no-brainer. I mean, it's like literally the next step. Anybody can see that. So as long as there's that close a relation, you should be able to sell about half of your front end sales. Now, I don't think this is on the next slide. If it is, we'll just skip over it because I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this. With these numbers, you can really start to back out the amount of work you're going to need to do to have a real business at a certain income level. So if we want, let's say every recurring income client we get, let's say we're going with the sales flow here, okay? And forget the $200 for the optimization service. That's just gravy. But let's say every recurring income client I get, let's back out and see how many people I need to create that meaningful conversation with. All right, it's going to be about 50. All right. And it's a little, look, don't get hung up on 25 and 50, because I know some of you who are OCD, because I'm like that. You're going to say, Lee, I thought you said 25. Now you're saying 50. Oh my God. No, it really works out to be about the same thing. But let me just back out these numbers for you. So one recurring income sale is going to take 2 front-end sales, right? Because I told you could upsell by half of them. And each front-end sale is going to take about 25 meaningful, each front-end sale, let's say, is going to take 5 sales presentations. So that means that 10 sales presentations results in your recurring income sale, right? And then we're going to have 10 sales presentations times 25 meaningful connections with people in order to get one of those, in order to make a sale, you're going to have to talk to about 50 people. Well, I already did the math. It's sitting here on my phone, so I'm not going to try. I can't do math and run a webinar all at the same time, but you're going to have to basically have a meaningful conversation with about 50 people in order to get one sale if you do the 2-step method here. And let's say that we want, well, how many sales do we want? So I said 50. Well, how many sales do we want? Well, let's say we want 10 recurring income clients, okay, $5,000 a month. Well, that means I need to talk to 50 times 10. I need to create 500 meaningful conversations with people. It's kind of, again, it's bad news and good news. The bad news is, God, 500 is a big number. The good news is, if I get 500, then guess what I've got? I've created a $60,000 a year freaking income. Now, I hope you understand that. So, and furthermore, 500 meaningful conversations for real life, honest to God salespeople is literally a drop in the bucket. It's just a drop in the bucket. I mean, real salespeople, I mean, like people who work for other people doing sales, like I used to way back in the day. Hitting up a bunch of people in order to create 500 people who are kind of sort of interested in your deal in order to create 25 actual sales presentations in order to create, X number of sales. This is just what you do for a living, right? This is what you do for a living. So the beauty with our businesses is that we can sell recurring income products, and because we're not working for someone else, we get the lion's share of the revenue. I mean, in other words, these businesses have a huge profit margin. And once you get to that point where you're making whatever you want to make, you can slow down on the prospecting if you want. Now, I'm just laying out the numbers for you. These are real life, honest to God numbers. But 25 is the magic number. Cold call businesses, get 25 of them to kind of sort of listen to you. Yeah, send me some information, or yeah, I'm kind of interested in that. But I'm like, right now I'm, taking a sock out of this dog's mouth or something, so whatever veterinarians do. I had a friend whose dog ate a sock. The dog lived, by the way. Whatever. I mean, could you call me tomorrow morning? That kind of thing. I mean, you do have to be a salesperson. You got to do follow-up and all that stuff. It's not magic. It's just work. But these are the numbers you need to be looking at in order to build a real business. And the beauty of this is you can get about, I mean, without killing yourself working. Now, look, if you want to work 12 hours a day, go for it. I personally don't. That's not why I started this business. I started this business way, way back in the day so I could have a lot more money, yes, and a lot more time. All right. But so you can actually do, I mean, if you just want to put the pedal to the metal, you can actually do much better than I do. But on average, you can get one new client per week doing this. These numbers are doable for anybody who's interested in it and doing this with the, I mean, go back through the webinar, look at the numbers, sit in there, calculate how long it's going to take to do all this stuff. You're looking about one new client per week. Well, how long would it take you to get up to your $5,000 a month? Well, one client's $500, so 10 weeks. What's 10 weeks? 2.5 months. I mean, seriously, if you would get off your butt and actually focus on your business, doing what I'm telling you to, for 3 months, you would have a freaking $60,000 a year income if you're selling the right thing. Now, that's a big if, except for you guys. You're on my list, you're on other people's list, and every now and then along comes a really good recurring income type product, like today when Jeanne Kolenda launched the Veterinary Client System. That is a really good recurring income type product. There are others, it's not the only one, but she really does. I've known this lady for years, but she really does get about $500 per client per month. So every week, just think if you were selling that. And again, it doesn't have to be that. It's just that example is top of mind because I was talking to Jeanne about it a couple of days ago. But every week, your monthly income will grow by $500. That's pretty astounding when you think about it. Do you realize what I mean, if you would actually just focus on this, just calm down and focus on this like this, make it really simple. You realize how much money you could be making by the end of the year? I'm just saying. This is the way real. This is Mark. Mark Mark. Do you not like WordPress or something? The website is the least important thing going on with that product. I'm going to tell you about that product because frankly, I love Jeanne. She's a really good friend of mine. I think the sales letter is not clear. Okay, I think the sales letter is not clear. Mark, that's really sad because probably 90% of business websites that are made today are made out of WordPress. So you're loathing the thing that your customers are making their websites out of. You know, you might want to change that idea. Two great ways to get clients, and I've alluded to this. LinkedIn's, I basically have two ways that I love to get clients, okay? I like direct mail. It's not one of the two I'm putting up here, and I use it, but like these are my go-to things, you know? Man, I got to beef up the business. These are my go-to things. This is what I do. LinkedIn. I call it message marketing. Messaging people on LinkedIn, okay? But there's a way to do it and a way not to do it. In order to do that, in order for you to set yourself up to message people on LinkedIn, there are just some things that have to be in place. Well, you need a LinkedIn account, and you need your profile. You know, the LinkedIn now calls it the About page, okay? But you have 2,000 characters available to you on that About page. Hang on, I'm going to take a little swig of water. You have 2,000 characters available to you on that About page. I don't know how many words that works out into. You know, it's plenty of room. Well, let's say you're selling the Google My Business thing. Well, guess what your About page, guess what your LinkedIn profile needs to focus on and that About section. You as a Google My Business expert, okay? So, you know, I mean, if you say you're an expert in, um, you know, downhill skiing and you're selling Google My Business stuff, that's a mismatch. All right. So as long as your profile is fixed up to be ethically, all about what you're trying to use LinkedIn to sell, you're good. And just, write the about page. It's not rocket science, guys. Write the about page and just make it say what it needs to say about the thing that you want to sell. That about section in your profile is what I call your silent sales letter. Because people really will go over there and read it as you reach out to them. So get your profile straightened out. Get a nice picture, okay? Most people have decent pictures on LinkedIn. Every now and then I run across somebody who has an avatar or their initials. That's stupid. LinkedIn is about people meeting people. Get a good picture of yourself. You could get your, significant other to go outside and take the picture of you standing against a brick wall. That's fine, but get a decent picture of yourself. You need 500 connections with other people, okay, on LinkedIn. Otherwise, you look stupid. You don't look like you really know what you're doing. And just it is. I'm not going to labor this. Just trust me on this. And then you use messaging to start pitching your deal, which in our case is Google My Business optimizing, and we're using that example. But if you were using some other recurring income thing, then you would be pitching that. Okay. That and targeted cold calling. And I know that everybody sort of has an issue with cold calling, and I would lovingly say that you really want to get over that. Okay, professional, you have to be, you are a sales, nobody's going to do your selling for you. You got to be a salesperson. You got to be at least, you don't have to be comfortable on the phone, but you got to be willing to talk to people on the phone. Otherwise, I mean, just, go do something that's more fits your personality more. I mean, why kill yourself, right? And I'm not saying that you have to be like the Wolf of Wall Street or something, but you just have to be an adult. Adults call adults all the time and have meaningful conversations. I called my I called my veterinarian because my cat has fleas earlier today. Adults have conversations all the time about stuff. Just be an adult. Just call them up. Tell them what you're selling. Don't read them the preamble to the Declaration of Independence or whatever your version of that is in your country. The, Declaration of the Droit de l'Homme or something like that in France. I don't know. Don't sit there and just blab. Just really succinctly. I help businesses just like yours with their Google listing, and just want to know if you guys were interested in getting some help. I mean, it can just be as simple as that. All right. My very first sale was made with a pitch as simple as that. And this was back in, I can't really remember the month. It's going to be August or September of 2010, my very first sale. And it was the day after I quit my job. All right. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew a little bit about, it wasn't even Google My Business back then. It was like Google Maps or Google Places. I've forgotten what they called it. And I just started calling people and started calling optometrists. And I ended up calling like 10 or 15. It wasn't even 25. They're pretty interesting, right? Some people said, yeah, I'm kind of interested. Send me some information, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people just said, no, thank you. But one guy said, yeah, I'm actually sitting here at my desk. I just got off the phone with the guy that built my my website to ask him if he knew anything about it. He said he didn't. And here you call. That's weird. And I said, yeah. So, by the end of that day, I had a, sizable check in my hand. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was selling one-offs, all right? By the end of the day, I could have had the beginnings of a very, very nice revenue stream if I knew what I was doing now. Targeted cold calling works, okay? The magic number here works too, all right? On average, I'll get a sales appointment scheduled if I call 25 businesses. And these are all the ones that say, no, thank you. And by the way, nobody ever like, gets all bitchy about it. I mean, that's a myth in your head. All right. I don't like people calling me up. I mean, businesses those are consumers who think like that, not businesses. Businesses want the phone to ring. Okay. So get over that crap. But on average, in my heart, I'm thinking, I get a sales appointment scheduled if I call 25 businesses. I just told you I need 3 to 5 sales appointments in order to make a sale. So that would mean I need 75 to 125 calls going out, outbound calls, in order to get a sales appointment, right? No, excuse me, in order to make a sale. So 75 to 125 outbound calls to make a sale. I mean, do you want to make sales or not? I mean, if you want to make sales, just dial the damn phone 75 times. There's a really good statistical chance that you're going to make a freaking sale. Even if you are like the worst salesperson on the planet, there's a reason that it works like this, because you're actually going to be reaching people and sorting through people, and you will end up talking to someone who really, really, really needs the service that you're selling. And if you'll just shut up and listen to them, they will sell themselves. Really, they'll just ask you a few questions. They'll say, that sounds cool. How fast can you do this? They'll sell themselves because they really, really need what you're selling. And all you're looking for is those people who really need what you're selling. This isn't hard, guys. So look, I mean, I could easily make one, I can easily make one scheduled sales appointment per working day. Easy, easy. 5 per week, that means 1 sale per week. Out of 5 appointments, on average, I close 1 new deal. And that's how you get 1 new client every week. It is not hard. It's just work. It's just work. Quit looking for the magic bullet. Quit just going out on a limb here. Quit buying things, thinking things. I mean, you're welcome to buy stuff. I actually get comped on a lot of the stuff you buy, but I do buy a lot of stuff, a lot of coaching, a lot of stuff to stay up with technology. I have to do that, but I don't expect me to buy something and then suddenly have the magic bullet that's going to build the damn business for me. That will not work. That's just pretending. Okay. I don't know if I have another slide after this or not. I do. Yeah, some training you might be interested in. Let's do this. I really don't want to. I talked about Jeanne's thing. This is not a sales pitch. I'm just going to show it to you because, frankly, the sales letter is it's beautiful. It was made by another friend of mine. The sales letter. I think the copy is not clear. Okay, honestly, I think the copy is not clear. The part of the sales letter, I'm not going to read all this to you. The part of the sales letter that really, really is going to show you what this is all about a little bit, but then I'm going to take you inside the members area and show you what this is all about, actually all about down here. So when you look at the sales letter, look down here. If you want to see the sales letter, all you got to do is go here. I'm just going to pop that in the chat. And I'm not going to take too long doing this. I want this to be a learning experience, not a pitching experience. Yeah. Yeah, the copy is almost blind, and I don't know why she did that. But this will tell you a little bit about what's in here. But what this thing is all about, I've got access to the members area here. I think I'm still logged in. Let's see. Yeah. So, you get all this stuff. You get a website template and all that stuff. That's cool. That's cool. Everybody but Mark, who's on this webinar, likes WordPress, but that's cool. But really, but here's the course: setting up Gmail and Google My Business and all that stuff. Easy ways to do citations. Now this is where this really gets interesting, because Jeanne has an automated way that her business does citations, and she sets these people up. It takes her all of like an hour or two to set these people up. And then they pay her monthly and she never has to even touch anything again. Okay, so easy ways to do citations that becomes automated. And set up Facebook page. Let me explain all this to you. So where it says set up Facebook page, set up YouTube, set up Twitter. This is what, and the sales letter is not clear, and I'm sorry about that, but that's why I wanted to go over this really what this is all about. All right, this is about you selling the following to veterinarians: a service where you take all of their social media accounts and you make sure that they're all interconnected with each other. This is extremely important for search engine optimization for local business stuff. And you also make sure that the information on them all is exactly the same. And we call that the name, the address, and the phone number. That's called the NAP in this part of the local marketing world, NAP. Okay, the name, the address, and the phone number. You make sure that's exactly the same, like, you know, letter for letter, space for space on all the social media accounts. You make sure they're all connected to each other, like, you know, YouTube connects to Facebook, connects to Twitter, you know, Twitter connects to Facebook, Twitter connects to YouTube, all that stuff. That's all, you know, interconnected. Very, very important stuff, right? And then, so that's like the setup, and then the rest of the thing, what you get paid monthly for, is the automated citation building service, which for you is automated. It takes her all of an hour or two to set it up, and then she never has to touch it. It just sits there and builds citations. That's what this is about. I wish she had said that in the sales letter. I think it'd be a lot clearer. She didn't. It is what it is. If you want to learn more about it, I put a link in the chat there. Just click that link and go on over there. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I put a subscription button in there. The last video I put in the YouTube channel was actually me doing an interview with Jeanne, where she tells us all about this product, okay? And it's a lot clearer than her sales letter. Usually she has great sales letters, but this one's not the clearest. It is what it is. It happens to me. It happens to everybody, okay? So there you have it. Let's look at what you've learned. You've learned the real inside skinny about how to build one of these businesses. It's going to take work. But I think that we ended up with the fact that if you will have 500 meaningful conversations with people about your deal, your recurring income deal, and I have sold all kinds of stuff into businesses, okay? All kinds of internet marketing kind of stuff. So this it's not like this works for one thing, okay? It's just like this is pretty much a rule of thumb for everything. If you will have 500 meaningful conversations with businesses, you will sell enough of those to end up with about a $60,000 a year recurring income, as long as you're selling the right thing, right? That should be great news. That should be absolutely great news to you, because that defines the work that you have to do. Now you may think, God knows I got to talk to 500 people. Of course you got to talk to 500 people. Why in God's name should you create an income $60,000 a year without doing work? I mean, why? Talking to 500 people is not a big deal for salespeople. You're going to have to be a salesperson. And I'm a little bit on the soapbox about this. I understand. I'm being very repetitive because I'm trying to get into your heads that this is what it's going to take. Okay, so it's going to take work. The good news is, look what you're going to have when you're done. You know, look what you're going to have when you do that work. When you climb that mountain, it's going to be great, right? There's nothing like making one of these businesses work. It is one of the most freeing things I ever did for myself. Actually, the most. So, cool beans. That's the webinar. This will be in, I'm just going to put it up on YouTube because I know I had to change the webinar time from last week. I just had I screwed up. I just had a conflict. I've forgotten what it was. I'm going to put it on YouTube to where, you know, people who are subscribed can look at it. You can go there and look at it and, you know, refer to it. It actually does work. This is really how this stuff happens. And I thank you so much for your time. I thank you so much for buying Jeanne's product with me as an affiliate. And I got a lot of cool stuff coming up between now and the end of the year. And let me know how I can help you build a real business. So I will see y'all later. Thank you so much for being on the webinar.